some wise guy came up with the idea and said that when Rangel first got to the Congress, that George Washington had black hair. So I didn't know where you were going. But I can't tell you how good I feel for East Central Baptist Church and being with you today. It's exciting being on the other side to the other island, and more exciting that you brought to me a political bridge with Mike McMahon. It's difficult sometimes for a kid from Harlem to even think about coming to Staten Island. But as I've grown politically, I've tried so desperately hard in saying, what can I do to help? And sometimes I've heard, with what? So to see Debbie Rose here, and she tried to get that bridge over there. And to see a person that it's not being a Democrat, it's being concerned about education, being concerned about housing, being concerned about dreams, being concerned about having people to be able to fulfill the blessings that God has given us in a realistic way. So at the end of the day, we can do more for our kids than that was done for us. He's a decent human being. I knew about him in the city council, and I'm so glad that we now have a political marriage so that I don't always have to come here. All he can say is what his nephews and nieces over here want. and Granddad Rangel will take care of it. Exciting day for me. Some people say at your age every day should be exciting, and it really is so. And I try to think of the different ways that each day that I've been blessed, so that at the end of the day I would know that tomorrow will be better and just as exciting, and it works for me. But Mrs. Carolina, when someone told you that someone named Demetrius went to meet with you, and you asked what was his last name, and they said Carolina, it must have been pretty interesting to see what was going to come behind this Demetrius Carolina. I say that because I remember someone told me that Barack Hussein Obama was going to be joining the Senate from Illinois. And I said, that's nice, you know. Who is Barack Hussein? But just as Demetrius has proven to be one of the most exciting personalities that we've been able to see, not only in Staten Island, but I've known from the village of Harlem and the borough of Manhattan and the city. And he has brought innovative ways in dealing with children, dealing with education, going beyond just the Old and New Testament, but going into the hearts of the people that he's worked with every day. And so you're so fortunate at First Central Baptist to have not just a local pastor, but someone that has impressed people throughout the city and throughout our country. This morning, Jeff Eaton, who's an icon in the NAACP, invited me to speak to them as they celebrate their 100th anniversary. And I could only think of how every day God has given us the capacity, if not to realize it, but every day we have the capacity to make history. When you see those little children come and dance and perform, when you see the teachers and the principals that are here, when you see the public officials who could be doing so many exciting things but decided that they want to make their families, their communities, their country a little better. This is truly what history is all about. I talked about in the early 60s marching with Dr. Martin Luther King from Selma to Montgomery. And I had no idea that 54 miles was history. As a matter of fact, the older I get, the more honest I get, I cussed every step of the way. And figuring, why the heck was I marching in the middle of the night? I didn't know it was history. I had no idea that as a result of that march, that President Lyndon Johnson would sign the Voting Rights Act. I had no idea that I would be succeeding the late and the great Adam Clayton Powell. I had no idea that when I got there joining the other 9 black members of Congress, that we would form the Congressional Black Caucus with 13 members.
All right.
In 10 years, as a result of Dr. King, the march, and Lyndon Johnson, the 13 became 26. In another 10 years, the 26 became 32. In another few years, our numbers became 43, with one of them becoming the President of the United States. And so it means as you sit here with your new congressmen, your public officials, those who will be public officials, believe me, one day, your kids and grandkids may be asking you, well, what were you doing when all these things were happening? So don't let what happened to me when I was marching and cussing. Remember each and every precious day that you have an opportunity to do more and more and more. And that time is now. Not just the beautiful names of the heroes that were recited in that beautiful poem. The heroes was mom and dad and granddad that tolerated all of that racism and couldn't do anything about it.
All right.
So once they lost their dignity and their pride, they had to swallow hard. Those are the faces that we never will see. The heroes are those that stood up. And some of their faces were there, but so many faces are not there. The heroes were those that came here with those chains. Torn away from their mothers and their wives and their children. And even some of them tried to reach out for freedom and justice, and they were killed. But listen to this. While I stood in the cold at the inauguration, I remembered in 38 years that I've been there, looking at all of the paintings that had been restored for the 300 years that America has been there. Looking at all of the people talking about justice and equality for all of the people in the United States of America. All I could see was black, was someone holding the white horse while they were silent. And then I thought that even though they were not in the pictures, they built the United States Capitol. And when they left the Capitol to march down Pennsylvania Avenue to go to the White House, it was Obama's forefathers that built the White House.